Unless there are any more questions, I guess I can dive into my impromptu lightning talk. So at yesterday's update, I spent some time talking about the advantages of the changes we made to the service manager and how that makes code generation easier. And so I thought for a lightning talk, I would boldly attempt a live demo of just how easy code generation is now to persuade you that it's a useful tool. And also, as a companion to that, I'm thinking about adding some new code generation functionality based on an idea I had in the car this morning. So cutting edge development here. So let me share my screen. So on my test server, I have the standard VuFind test instance running, just from using the thing startup task. And I've decided that what I want to do is display all of my titles backwards, because forwards is too easy. So what I can do is log into my server. I'll make my font bigger so you can actually see what I'm doing. So I will go to my VuFind directory. I have a quick script to set up my VuFind home and VuFind local directory. And so in order to use VuFind's code generators to customize code, you need to have a local code module to hold your code in. So I'm just going to rerun the install script to create myself a module called local. So now I need to export the VuFind local module's environment variable so my command line tools know about that thing. I also need to clear my cache so that my module configuration is cached, does not carry over. And I need to restart Apache because the installer modified my Apache configuration to activate the new module. So I'm now in a position to run the code generator. So I just run the standard index.php with generate extend class, the name of the class I want to extend. So I want to extend the record driver. So I'm just going to say VuFind record driver SolarMark. I have to double my backslashes because of command line escaping. But other than that, I'm just typing the class name I want to override. And then I want to tell it what module to put it in. And so now the generator creates the subclass I wanted and updates my configuration to activate it. So I now can edit the script that rather the class that was just auto-generated. If I can type correctly. So here is my little stub class that the generator made for me. So now I can put in a new function. I want to override getTitle so that it returns the title backwards, because this is a completely realistic example of something a person would really want to do. And now I go to my browser and I refresh the page and all of my titles are backwards. So there you go, code generation. It makes things faster. So this isn't enough. I don't like the fact that my server actually works correctly. So what I want to do is create a new search controller that will not work correctly. So I will generate extend class VuFind controller search controller in my local module. It magically creates my files and updates my configuration. I'm going to have to clear my cache again because every time the module config changes, you need to clear your cache if you're not in development mode. and I'm not right now. So anyway, let's edit the right file. So let's create a new results action. Which doesn't work correctly. And now if I refresh my page again, well, actually, I incorrectly broke it. I wonder what I did wrong.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, yes, you're right. Escape characters will get you every time. I broke it too effectively. There we go. So this functionality should work for very nearly any existing class in VuFind. If there's a class you want to extend and change, just use the generate extend class generator. It'll make you a subclass. It will configure it for you, and then you can add the functionality you want. I'll show you for a moment what the configuration looks like, because that also demonstrates what I was talking about yesterday about how to override things. So, for example, when I updated the record driver, it created a factory for my local class name using the existing Solar default factory. And then it set up an alias using the original class name and pointing it at my new class name. So when the core code requests VuFind record driver solar mark, it actually gets local record driver solar mark built by VuFind record driver solar default factory. The record drivers also use delegators to add additional functionality, and the generator is smart enough to copy all the delegators over for you automatically. And the controller looks pretty much the same, except that it doesn't require any delegators, so there's a little bit less configuration there. The only thing that you currently cannot extend in this way is view helpers, because the view helpers are tied to themes rather than modules. And so in order to extend those, we would need to introduce a different tool with a different syntax, because you would be telling it which theme to extend it into rather than which module. I have an open Jira ticket to do that. It wouldn't be difficult. I just haven't done it yet because nobody's asked me to. So feel free to ask for that. And the other project I had alluded to that I may work on later today if time permits is that this generator I've demonstrated lets you extend existing things, but there is not currently a delegator, a generator for creating new plugins of a particular type. And I think that would be really useful if you want to create a new, authentication handler or recommendation module or whatever. So my thought was I can create a create plugin action, which will take the name of the plugin you wish to create, and by looking at the namespace, can find the plugin manager that would be used to create that type of plugin. It can query the plugin manager to find out what the standard interface or base class for that type of plugin is, and then it can use that information to actually build the plugin, make it extend or implement the appropriate thing, configure it in the appropriate way, and then you've got a blank class you can fill right in. So unless I'm neglecting some detail, I think I can code that pretty quickly, and I think it will be useful for anyone who does VuFind extension work. So that's all I had to show. Any questions or comments? Oh, great, great. It's just a comment that the generators have been very helpful. And we've had generators for a while, but if you've used them in the past, you may recall that you had to give them as a parameter a convoluted path to a configuration section in the module config before, which was a pain. But now, because of the standardization of class names as service names, all you need to do is give it the class name and it finds what you need, which is a lot more convenient. The other thing that I didn't demonstrate, but which is an option, is there's a switch on that generator I was using called extend factory. And if you do that, it will also extend the factory that's being used to construct the service. So if you need to customize the factory, you can do that too, and it will save you some time on that as well. All right, it sounds like everyone wants to get on with their days. So thanks for stopping by. We will be back at the regularly scheduled developers call next Tuesday, so feel free to stop in there as well if you're interested. And I will talk to you soon.